night, I wanted to read a story. A story about a witch and the woods that whispered to her. Her name was Oriana, and she lived at the edge of the forest, in a crooked little cottage, where the smoke from her chimney always smelled faintly of rosemary and cinnamon. Oriana had lived there for years. She knew the woods well, every bird, every tree, every bend of moss-covered stone. But one week, something changed. The forest began to whisper, not with wind, not with passenger pigeons or crows, but with something softer, a sound like voices, calling her name. At first, she thought it was only her imagination. A witch alone in the woods hears many things. But the whisper grew stronger every night, every dream, until she could no longer resist. So she followed. She stepped into the woods, her lamp swinging at her side. The moon poured silver lances across the twisting branches, and though her lamp was unlit, it glowed faintly, a pale, witch-lit blue. The forest was leading her, and then she found it, in a clearing circled by stones, too smooth to be natural, grew a single plant. Its leaves shimmered, green and black, the edges pulsing like veins. The air around it was warm, sweet, heavy, like honey, but tinged with something metallic. Oriana crouched low, whispering, a nerve seen by mortal eye. Her hand hovered above it. She knew the rule. If the woods give you something, they will always take something back. Still, she plucked it. The stem bled crimson. Back in her cottage, she laid the herb across her oak table. Every spell book she owned, every scroll, every scrap of lore, offered no mention of this plant, and that was rare. There is always some record, some trace in the old pages, but not here. This herb was a secret meant only for her. That night, it began to speak, not aloud, not in words, but in dreams. She dreamed of her mother, calling from across a river bank. She dreamed of a lover, bound to a chair, mouth swim shut, tears streaming down his face, and his gaze before closing his eyes forever. She dreamed of herself, though older, lined with shadows deeper than age should allow, holding the herb like a blade. By the fourth night, By the fourth night, she could not sleep. The voices begged her, "Rule me, burn me, eat me." And so she tested it. She ground it and made it into a soup. It smelled of rain and mud. She lit a fire. It sang, not crackled, not hissed, but sang, a thin, ghostly choir, rising from the flames. When she touched the soup to her tongue, the world stopped. The fire froze. The wind stilled. Her heart forgot a beat, and a voice whispered, "Oriana, you found me." She woke with dirt under her fingernails, not from her garden, from a grave behind her cottage. The earth was freshly turned, and in it a stone grave carved with a name, her own, Oriana of the Vespera Cross. Her heart stopped, her breath caught. She staggered back inside, but the herb was gone. In its place sat a mirror, fogged from within. She reached out. Her reflection smiled before she did. The herb was not for healing. The reflection said it was not for spells. It was the seed of me. I have been waiting for you to call me back. The glass cracked, and Oriana remembered she had killed a witch once. Not a rival, not an enemy, but herself, her younger self, the purest half of her soul, buried deep, a sacrifice for a new magic to keep. But nothing stays buried in a forest that whispers. The reflection stepped through the glass, older, hungrier, smiling with her face.
You thought you plucked an herb, but you uprooted me.
The voice grew louder. The cottage filled with them. Voice whispering from the walls. You are there. Oriana looked down. Her hands had become leaves, black and green, pulsing like veins. Roots spilled from her mouth. Her body was no longer her own, but it never was. And her other self gathered her up like a bouquet. And somewhere, deep in the forest, the circle of stones smoothed themselves again, waiting for the next witch.